Pro Group Management, workers' comp that works for you.
I'm Rachel Dahl on Nevada Newsmakers today. We'll be talking to the candidates for Nevada Senate 17, Assemblywoman Dr. Robin Titus from District 38 and Assemblyman Jim Wheeler of District 39. Today on an all-new Nevada Newsmakers.
Modern boutique Ahern Hotel and Events Center in Las Vegas. Host meetings and events on 2 floors. Stay in luxurious rooms and suites. Unlimited branding opportunities. Regional Italian cuisine by Chef Mark Segrisi. Flexible event spaces. Full buyout options. Visit ahernhotel.com today.
I'm here at the Carson Valley Inn in Minden with Joey Whitaker. Entertainment here at the Carson Valley Inn is extraordinary.
Yeah, super proud of the TJ's Corral, our outdoor venue, about 1,500 seats. We've had first-class entertainment out there. We've had Merle Haggard, we've had Chris Young, we've had Lee Brice a couple times, we've had Pat Benatar, Joan Jett, who's in the Hall of Fame. We're real proud out there, and it's just a great time. Watch CarsonValleyInn.com and grab those tickets early. It's not a long way to get away to the Carson Valley Inn.
Pro Group Management offers workers' comp services to a growing number of industries. As businesses grow and change with the times, the need for a solid workers' comp program must be flexible and up to date. The evolving nature of regulations can make staying ahead of complex tasks challenging. But Pro Group Management simplifies the work so your industry can move forward and succeed. Pro Group Management, workers' comp that works for you.
Do you play golf? The Optimist Club of Reno is hosting the inaugural Ray Pezzanella Memorial Charity Golf Tournament on June 3rd at the Lake Course at Red Hawk Golf and Resort. For more information, go to pezgolf.org. Funds raised go to benefit local children's programs.
Nevada Newsmakers Studio is located at the headquarters of the Nevada Trucking Association. Motion and purpose are a truck's greatest virtue.
This is Nevada Newsmakers with host Sam Shad on No Holds Barred Political Forum. Now, from the Nevada Newsmakers broadcast headquarters, here is Sam Shad.
Good morning. We're on Nevada Newsmakers today. I'm Rachel Dahl, sitting in for Sam Shad. We're here today with the Senate candidates from District 17, Robin Titus, Dr. Robin Titus, who Assembly District 38, and Jim Wheeler, Assembly District 39, and you guys have served together for quite a while and now running against each other in the Senate race. So welcome to the show today. Thank you both for being here. It's actually really good to have you both together. So
thanks for having us.
Thanks for
thank you,
doing
Rachel.
that. I thought it would be nice if we just started out with a little introduction and take a few minutes to introduce yourself and maybe tell us the top 2 issues you see in this race. And Robin, why don't you go ahead?
Great, thanks. So first, thanks for having us. I think it's really important that folks get to see us and we get to kind of voice what we stand for and why we're running. And so for those who don't know me, I'm Assemblywoman Dr. Robin Titus. I'm the minority leader for the Republican Caucus now. And I've been planning on running for Senate District 17 when Senator Settlemyre termed out. As it turns out, Assemblyman Wheeler also is planning on running. So I look at it not running against each other. We're running for an open seat more than anything else. What I bring to the table, my priorities, obviously I'm a physician and medical doctor. I started running in politics because of health care. When the Affordable Care came out, which we all know wasn't affordable nor about care, I decided that as a family practice doctor in the trenches that I needed to get involved for access to care. So that's been one of my main focus. But as a rural person who's had a ranch and farming and moved water and trying to get that last inch of water down my field for that last little grass alfalfa crop. That was another thing. And protecting our way of life. My family's been in Nevada since 1866 and in Smith Valley since 1888. So it's really important for me that we recognize the history of Nevada, but also recognize there's growth and how do we control all of that together.
Awesome, thank you. Jim.
Thank you. Okay, for those that don't know me, I'm Jim Wheeler. I am the Assemblyman for District 39. I'm a former CEO of law enforcement, also a veteran, and I've been in the Assembly now for 10 years and held various positions all the way from leader down to, chief bottle washer. and have seen things happen. My priorities are basically, I think I can sum it up by saying your freedom. It's your freedom that we care about now. We've seen so much nationally and in this state of people taking away our rights, or trying to eat away at it, and we need someone there who's going to fight, who's going to just stand up and say what needs to be said. And I've done that through my entire career in politics, which has been 10 years now. I was lucky enough to retire early and went into politics after I retired. So it's not a full-time job for me or anything else. It's because it's something I'm extremely passionate about, and that's this country and this state. And I don't want to see us go down the rabbit hole that we're seeing other states go down. So that's what I'm here for, to fight for you.
That's great. I'm glad that we have good candidates in a race. That's really nice. There's so many things to talk about in this specific race. This district covers a lot of territory. So I guess we could talk about and I guess there's not a lot of difference, but you look at Lyon County and the growth that's going on there that's trickling over to Churchill and Douglas. Do you still have Story County in this district? Or?
No, Story's not in this.
That
this now goes all the way down to
out.
Tonopah, though.
Yeah.
So it's about 300 miles from top to bottom.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
So Rachel, I've always used that my particular district, District 38, is really the classic demographics of the state of Nevada in a smaller scale. And so they've expanded it when we did redistricting. Now we have all of Douglas County, we have all of Lyon County, all of Churchill County, all of Mineral County, all of Esmeralda County, and a little bit of Tonopah, which is Nye County.
Okay.
So the demographics, though, in Lyon County is what we struggled for. And Assemblyman really had the same thing a little bit, in that we have several cities, small, but cities nonetheless with their own needs. And then we have that rural ranching, the same problems we have in our state. What are the needs of Fernley, Dayton, Yarrington, and say Gardnerville, Minden versus the ranching community? So we represent a good demographics of the state of Nevada.
Yeah, it's a very interesting district. I remember Mike McGinnis used to say he had the biggest district in the continental United States, and this is part of that. One of the things that, coming from Churchill County, our big focus is the river. The Carson River runs straight through your guys' district, top to bottom.
Right.
And so, Jim, why don't you take the Carson River and talk about how important that is to each of those communities?
Well, it's very important because as most people know in the rural area, it's surface water that actually grows your plants, your agriculture. It's surface water that takes care of it. When that goes away, then the farmers need to pump water from the aquifers. Very, very expensive, raises the cost of everything. So it's very important. When you see something like, I was a little weirded out that all of a sudden we were dumping water a couple of years ago, looking for places to put it.
That is so unnatural,
instead
isn't it?
of keeping it for future use.
Right.
So that's something we definitely have to work on in the next session. We've got to be able to keep that water. We've got to be able to get that water where it belongs. Okay, it's not that, we're a dry state, there's no doubt about that. So we have to manage our water better than anyone else does. We've done that for years. Now it's time to move on to the next step.
Okay, all right.
So, Rachel, I was just last night at a meeting from the state engineer, Adam Sullivan, that was in Smith Valley, because there are Holstein water meetings in both Mason and Smith Valley about our drought year. Our groundwater has dropped 11 feet in the last year and 5 feet the year before. They're looking at possible curtailments of the water usage for our ranchers. It's just not the Carson River that runs forward. One of the problems with the Carson River, there's really no upstream storage, right? So what happens is, the reason you dumped was because we had a banner water year. It all ran into Lake Lahontan, and if your town fathers didn't have the foresight to move that water, Fallon would have been underwater.
Yeah.
So they had to do something with it. And Stillwater didn't complain, right? That's where it used to go. But not having the upstream storage, they are putting it back into the ground, and so there's some storage there. And what happens with not just the Carson River, but the Truckee River, this TCID, which is a Truckee Canal Irrigation District, they're talking about lining that canal.
Right.
And the people in Fernley go, wait a minute, that's how we recharge our wells, right? That's how we get it. So water isn't just in one basin. We represent multiple water basins, and they're all having significant issues. So it's that communication and that forward thinking of it. We don't just have surface water. I have irrigation rights. I have storage, which is like Topaz, that advantage.
Right. And
then I have surface water running from the river in Old Decree. So there's multiple areas, and we in our I've been 8 years in the legislature, and we constantly are hearing, both of us about natural resources, because obviously we're in the rural areas. Right. And we're constantly hearing water bills and how to fix this, right? We put a bill in a couple years ago about water mitigation and talk about Diamond Valley. They're still in the Supreme Court fighting over what we did in the legislature. Right. So water is something, Mark Twain said, whiskey's for drinking, water's for fighting over. Right. It's not going away.
Yeah. I mean, we could take the whole show with water, because you just gave me like 6 more questions, but I will maybe save one of those for later. Naturally, this kind of evolves into funding for our state agencies. You want to make sure that the state engineer has the money that they need, and does the Department of Ag. And I've talked to folks with Dieter, and the mess that's gone on at unemployment over the last 2 years has just been insane. But also the Highway Patrol, the Department of Public Safety. And those guys aren't paid like our local law enforcement officers are.
That's a big problem.
So how do we address those?
Yeah, I've been in touch with many of the law enforcement agencies and their unions, their representatives, and we're looking at things. And what we're seeing happening is with Nevada State Police, which is what we call them now.
Right. Yeah, that was an interesting change.
It doesn't roll off the tongue anymore, does it?
Nope.
But with the Nevada State Police, they're paid probably around 20% less than your average sheriff's department in the rurals, let alone the bigger cities. So they use it. A lot of people use it as a training ground, and they'll go in, they'll get trained. We'll pay $60,000, $70,000 to get someone through the academy out onto the streets. They'll gain a few years experience and then do a lateral transfer over to a sheriff's department or a local police department where they make 20, 30% more. So it has to be, that's one of the areas where we need to actually look at what we're paying for what we're getting. I loathe raising any kind of price that is going to raise a tax burden.
Right.
But you have to be able to look at other avenues and see where we can get this money. What can we take it from? Right off the top of my head, I see agencies that our governor has put in that, to me, really don't need that money. We need to be able to take that and put it into the things that government is really there for, and that's public safety.
Okay. So. Robin, when we come back from the break, I'll have you tackle that issue. I appreciate you both your perspectives, but we need to go to break. We'll be back on Nevada Newsmakers.
As you know, Reno is booming. Toll's development company is helping it grow with insightful design and development, building community with every project, adding beauty, adding excitement, emphasizing our shared humanity. Reno is becoming bigger. Toll's development is helping it become better, more livable, more enjoyable. To learn more, go to tollsdevelopment.com. tollsdevelopment.com.
Like a traditional handmade basket, retail is woven into the fabric of life in Nevada. From big box to mom and pop, retail supports our communities in countless ways. Jobs for the disabled, team uniforms for kids, help for the elderly, and so much more. Retail employs over 1 in 10 workers. Retail supports Nevada, and we support retail.
RANNV.org. Hi, I'm Renee Summer, our digital news anchor here at 7 at 7. Watch our streaming nonstop newscast immediately with your mobile phone. 7 at 7 is the new way for you to get every bit of local news you need in just 7 minutes. Breaking news, local neighborhood news, weather, and sports are just a click away. Reporters bring you all of what's happening in the Valley. From Roku, Amazon Fire, Apple TV, YouTube, and more. Get every bit of local news you need from the RJ and LVRJ.com.
Ahern Rentals began as Signal Gas Station on Las Vegas Boulevard. Founder John Ahern grew the business by offering rentals. His son Don built on John's legacy, growing Ahern Rentals into the largest independently owned American rental company with 89 locations in 30 states. Don also brought his experience and vision to equipment manufacturing with Extreme Manufacturing and Snorkel. Today, Ahern Rentals continues to bring its family values to a new generation. Learn more at ahern.com.
This is Nevada Newsmakers.
We're back on Nevada Newsmakers with Dr. Robin Titus, Assemblywoman from District 38, and Assemblyman Jim Wheeler, District 39, who are both running in James Settlemeyer's open Senate 17 seat. That's quite a mouthful. Anyway, thanks for joining us. We're going to have Robin pick up the answer to that last question about funding state agencies.
We were talking about state agencies and in the law enforcement in general, and it's pretty significant that what's happening in our state of Nevada. At our last interim finance committee meeting, we heard that we have about a 20% vacancy rate across this state. So it's just not our law enforcement that's the issue. Lots of things have happened. I'm married to the retired sheriff of Lyon County, Alan Vail. So I understand a lot of the issues when it comes to reimbursement of the deputies. And again, I spoke at the last post-graduation. There was not one single application for our highway patrol, which was called highway patrol at the time, now it's state police. So they weren't training any of them because they're not applying. So when there is a job opening, people can move around because it's a commodity. We don't have enough workers. So when I spoke up post, they told me, and I went and met with the sheriffs of all the districts that I hope to represent. And they were telling me that as soon as they train them at post, they get stolen by the next agency that pays a little bit better. But it's not just that. When I speak to the state highway patrol folks, they're worried about paying into the retirement fund, what they have to do there. Not only that, the mask mandates. I asked the state at that interim finance to give me a figure on how many employees did we lose from the state of Nevada because of the mandate that our governor had about vaccines and masks, and even more, they were charged a penalty if they didn't get that vaccine on their insurance.
Right.
People they couldn't afford that.
Right.
So we have disrespected our state employees for a long time, and we need to fix that.
I'm glad you brought that up. I didn't want to touch this with a 10-foot pole, but since you set us up in the beginning with the healthcare, your background in healthcare, and Jim, your statement about freedom, and we've just gone through 2 years of those two things conflicting. So as you're looking at this Senate seat, Robin, let's have you start out, and then Jim, you clean this one up. How do we find a balance between public health and freedom? This used to not even be a question. The fact that this is a question is ridiculous. So how do we go forward, having just come out of this huge conflict between those two issues?
Well, for me, as a medical doctor, I'm also the county health officer for Lyon County still. So I lived through this pandemic with our county. And what happened, it became political science, not science. So the mandates about the masks, I tried to share some science about what the mask meant, because there's some folks who, in the right situation, should be wearing an N95 mask. But to re-wear a mask, me as a medical doctor, we would never re-wear a mask after you have it, right? And so I tell people, throw those things away if you really need to be protected. But that mandate that we had to choose, that personal health care choices of mandates, should never have been allowed to happen. Nowhere, first, we never ever told healthy people to put masks on. It was only to protect unhealthy people, right? And then mandating vaccines, mandating healthcare choices, something we never should. At our last IFC meeting, we have allowed this governor, this trifecta government of Democrats in the House and the Senate and our executive branch, to control our state for 2 years with no checks and balances. Last week at IFC, we gave them $250 million to the executive branch for this Homies Nevada initiative. Right. We have no checks and balances on that. We can't rein them in. We can't say, hey, we don't like what you're doing. So that's the issue. The issue is it's not science, it's political science. No checks and balances. Nobody's reining this governor.
Right. IFC is?
Interim Finance Committee.
Okay, thank you. Not everybody knows our shorthand. Jim, talk about that conflict.
Well, it is a conflict, and one of the things that really, really bothers me is a hypocrisy. That gets me more than anything, and it shows the people out there that this is a power move, not a medical move. And it doesn't take a doctor to see that. When you have public officials out there demanding masks everywhere and then not wearing one, I mean, that's one of the big things. But the biggest part of the hypocrisy here is the Democrat Party basically saying that they are pro-choice. Everything is pro-choice. Everyone has choice over their medical freedoms until we say you don't.
Right.
And when we're in power, you no longer have choice. And that's exactly what I'm talking about when I'm talking about freedom. We must have our freedom. And that's what this country was built on. What is it, 267 years,
right.
I believe?
Right.
We have fought for our freedom.
Right.
And that's one of the things that I am. I'm a fighter. I don't care what people say about me. I'm going to fight for my constituents. And my constituents did not want mandates and did not want masks.
Okay.
Okay? And so I fought for it from day one.
Right.
And I'll continue to do it. What the people out there have to do to fix this is to get us a Republican governor and change our government.
Okay.
Give us freedom-loving people in our government.
On that note, we're going to take a break. Thank you. We'll be back on Nevada Newsmakers.
The Nevada Builders Alliance has been protecting the interests of the construction industry for over 50 years.
Our programs save members thousands of dollars every year and allow them to provide much-needed benefits to their employees. Our industry also allows Nevada to grow. If you're thinking about a career in the construction industry, reach out. And if you haven't thought of a career in construction, what are you waiting for? We are the Nevada Builders Alliance.
Each day, the Children's Advocacy Alliance partners with leaders, legislators, and families across Nevada to improve children's health, education, economic well-being, and safety. We recognize Nevada will be no better than the state of its children. Be a part of this change. Be a supporter of the Children's Advocacy Alliance. For more information, go to caanv.org.
Southwest Specialties has been making the homes and businesses of Nevada beautiful for more than 20 years. Their experienced designers and craftsmen create the walkways, backyards, water features, and a variety of outdoor cooking areas that add curb appeal and value to your investment. Call today or visit them at their website and see how they can make your outdoor spaces special. Southwest Specialties, creative, distinctive, beautiful.
Don't miss the $200,000 Big Cash giveaways at Tamarack Casino through May 28th. One $10,000 Big Cash winner guaranteed every Saturday, plus over $60,000 in grand prize giveaways. The $200,000 Big Cash giveaways at Tamarack Casino.
This is Nevada Newsmakers.
We're back on Nevada Newsmakers with the candidates for Senate 17. Dr. Robin Titus and Jim Wheeler, and we have just a few minutes to do a little wrap up. Why don't you guys each take a minute to do a little closing?
No, go ahead, ladies first.
Thank you. So
I think it's your turn anyway.
So first, thank you for having us today. I appreciate an opportunity to kind of share our views and sit down together. Jim and I have worked together for a long, long time, and you will find out that there are some, differences, but a lot of similarities. We both want Nevada to move forward. We both want a new governor. We both want to change out our Senate and our Assembly. And my message to the folks listening to this is I'm a fighter too, but I can get stuff done. I get bills passed. I've gotten health access bills. I've gotten water bills passed, communication bills passed. So I fight, but I also get stuff done. Finally, I want to make sure people listening to this, because they're interested in this race, but we can have no red wave if people don't go vote. And so the key for this, and my message I want everybody to take home, is that they have to go vote. Our race is about the primary, so you have to vote in the primary. We have no opponent after the primary. So make your decisions based on what you see, based on what you like, and vote in that primary, because then we can go help other candidates. Our state depends on it, so no red wave. If people don't vote, go vote. Thank you.
Very good. Thanks. Jim.
Well, thank you, and thanks for having us on today. Yeah. There are some contrasts. I think we vote very similar, but and I too have gotten many bills passed over the 10 years that I've been in there. But I've also killed many bills that were bad bills, very bad bills, and I've also changed many bills that were bad bills. And these are the things the public doesn't see, the things you do around behind the scenes. And but the reason for that is, and the reason that I'm running for this race, is simple. I want to fight for my constituents. I've always said since day one, I will do what my constituents want. Not what some other group wants, not what a lobbyist wants, not even what I want. There's been many times where I've seen a bill and I've thought it was a good bill, but I know my constituents don't want it. So I not only didn't vote no on it, I fought against it, because that's the way that you're supposed to do it. See, we get hired by your votes. We're your employee. When you elect us, we are your employee. And I truly believe that that's how we should treat this job. We're not head and shoulders above someone else. We're not leaders. We're employees. So tell us what you want. Make sure we know exactly what it is you want, and I'll fight for you. That's what I do.
Very good. Very good. It's nice to have two good candidates in a race, and I appreciate both of you running. I know what it's like to throw your hat in the ring, and we need people like you to do that. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Rachel.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you. Bet. Thank you for joining us on Nevada Newsmakers today.
Before the masks, before the distancing, before the world changed, UMC was ready. Our response to COVID-19 began before the crisis did, with our own team of infectious disease experts who've spent their careers planning for this moment. With a pandemic response plan, we'd practiced again and again, and by blazing new trails in large-scale testing, including every patient we admit. Always ready. UMC.
I'm here at the Carson Valley Inn in Minden with Joey Whitaker. One of the things I love about the Carson Valley Inn here in beautiful downtown Minden is CV steak. I have eaten here so many times. Tell folks what they can expect when they come here to eat.
It's a beautiful room, great service. We have certified Angus beef, seafood, lamb, a great range of appetizers, and wonderful desserts. Jean-Michel's done a great job of selecting some beautiful wines for us. The customers love it, and we've got a great selection of cocktails as well. It's not a long way to get away to the Carson Valley Inn.
A bird's eye captures its surroundings at different heights. At Brian KULPA Photography, we can make your imagination soar over buildings, parks, cityscapes, and beyond. Brian's images tell the story and get the job done. If you need a new perspective to tell your story, contact Brian today. Brian KULPA Photography. Experience the bird's eye view at briankulpaphotography.com.
Safety is the #1 priority for the trucking industry. Over $7 billion a year is spent on technology like this electronic eye that will apply the brakes automatically. But the most important factor for safety is the truck driver. These hardworking men and women who safely move over 70% of our nation's freight and 94% of Nevada's. We thank you because trucks move America forward.
Everyone is talking about opioids, but they're not the only drugs that can be harmful if taken in large quantities or not as prescribed. You also need to be aware of side effects from anxiety drugs, muscle relaxants, sleep aids, and stimulants. Mixing prescription drugs with other drugs or alcohol can be dangerous. If you take Ambien with a glass of wine, it may be enough to stop you from breathing. Prescribed drugs can be just as dangerous as illegal drugs. Take medications only as directed.
Don't miss the $200,000 Big Cash giveaways at Tamarack Casino through May 28th. One $10,000 Big Cash winner guaranteed every Saturday, plus over $60,000 in grand prize giveaways. The $200,000 Big Cash giveaways at Tamarack Casino.
As always, you can watch Nevada Newsmakers 24 hours a day at NevadaNewsmakers.com. You can also check our archive going back to 2005 on our website. Again, NevadaNewsmakers.com. We'll see you on the next show.